let's talk about your piece, which uses Slovakian sheep bells in digitally modeled cyber bell structures of non-physical parameters.
I know this is very wordy.
It's scary.
It's a,
can you clarify?
Well, maybe I should say, as you mentioned, I'm from Slovakia, and having been in the States for 13 years now, I have been developing the relationship with my homeland, from distance, so to speak. And over the years, I went back and rediscovered the richness of the musical heritage. And I come from the mountains of northern Slovakia, where the shepherd culture is was very present. There's a little bit of a revival now, so there are certain instruments that came out from that culture. One would be fujara, which is a bass pipe recorder. It's a very tall, didgeridoo-looking like instrument. It's basically overblown harmonics. It's a flute where you basically overblow harmonic series. And then the other instrument, musical instrument, would be these bells, these sheep bells. And there is there is something really fascinating, the way how these shepherds would live in the mountains of Slovakia in very secluded life. They would be alone in the mountains by themselves for a period of 3-4 months with no contact with human beings. And the only contact they would have is with other shepherds when they met, at the foothill of a mountain, perhaps to exchange gifts or have a little party. Well, when you do that, your sheep meet too. And so in the morning it would be difficult to distinguish whose sheep it was. And so the way how they solved it, and this is one of the functions of the bell, is they would tune their herd to one pitch. So in a sense, they develop a really intricate listening habit by knowing what which animal was there, and this is apparently also a signal instrument. If the sheep would get lost or ran away, they would know where to go and find the lost animal. So I found it pretty fascinating. And my grandfather, on his farm, had sheep, and we would bring them. In the spring, you bring them to the mountains and leave them there for the period of the summer, and then you bring them back. And so the sheep bell would be always a part of the sonic tapestry of the countryside of farm household, so to speak. And as the revolution came, the Velvet Revolution came to Czechoslovakia, and the capitalism invaded. A lot of this interest in folk preservation of folk cultures disappeared for a decade. There is a revitalization of it now. So I thought that it's pretty actually important to keep these ancient instruments that have been part of one's heritage alive, And so it happened that my father's friend was one of the last makers of these bells, because of course with the European Union now we import a lot of products from other countries, so the shepherds are disappearing, and so is the sheep bell. And so I persuaded him to make me a set of the bells, and these are tin bells that are made by hand. They're folded, they're zipped, so to speak, and then they are hammered to tune them. And I asked him to create a scale. I was thinking about what kind of a collection would be musically interesting, so I have a G major scale. In a few weeks I came back. You will see the bells in the performance, and the bells were ready. They were really stunning. But he tells me, I just cannot tune that F sharp in the scale of G major, and I just cannot, by ear he's tuning, and it's somewhere, it's sitting between F and F sharp, and he just cannot do it. And I kept thinking about it, why is it so? And realized that, as I was talking about the fujara, the pipe instrument, which is based on overblowing harmonic series, that in the key of G, that F sharp in the natural series doesn't exist. There is an F. We hit that minor 9. And so there is this really incredible listening habit of not hearing. They hear mixolydian, the way how the natural pipe resonates.
So let's talk more about your work. What is it called?
It's called At and Across, and this is the piece for Slovakian sheep bells and electronics, or cyber bell structures, what I call them. And I already talked about the acoustic instrument, the idea of preserving this ancient instrument and preserving it also digitally. So I went to France to this center where they have developed a technique called physical modeling. And what the physical modeling technique does is simulates the actions, the materials of the instruments, as opposed to simulating the resulting sound. So basically what we create, or what they propose, they have an environment where we can actually create a bell made of masses, springs, and dampers. And so what it means, you recreate a bell that sounds pretty similar to the acoustic instrument. And that is not the exciting part, because we have beautiful instruments. The physical bell by itself is quite stunning. So what is exciting about this technique is that once you have the model of the instrument, you can augment it, you can stretch it, you can change the material, you can change the excitation mode. So instead of hitting the bell, you can pluck it. And so I started, in the composition, I have this simulations of the bells that are pretty close to the acoustic bell. Then I have these hybrids that would be something like combining incoherent excitation with an instrument that is made of silk-like material, plucking a silk bell. But then also I was thinking the metaphor of creating these models is, what if we could pluck a composer? What if we could bell a pluck? And started thinking about these interactions, that are quite impossible in the physical world, and but in the computer world, once you have these elements, these models, you can design the interactions in a variety of combinations. So what we hear in the piece is also a bell that is a conductor. We hit the virtual bell, it starts vibrating, but we do not hear how it vibrates. We take that energy and we start, let's say, bowing a set of bells, and that's what we hear. So the bell becomes also a conductor. There is an element of a bell becoming a composer, which is a larger structure. Again, exciting this larger structure in any way transpires as a vibration. We do not hear that structure. We take the energy and plug it into, maybe to the conductor, and then to the performers, to the arms that are hitting particular bells. So the idea of augmenting the instruments, hybridizing them, and abstracting them was then, became manifested as an extension of the physical instrument to this digital domain.
And you said the actual physical instruments will be at the concert.
Correct.
So are they part of the piece?
Yes.